with your host, Andrew Romanella.
I legitimately watched the entire women's triathlon the other day. I gotta tell you, that was exhilarating stuff. But I was locked in because what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com, broadcasted live on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 30 and change as we dissect all the latest and the greatest in professional and college sports. Get in on the action. Social media is the way. The Rome Show 1 or 12OZ Sports. That's on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, and then youtube.com/12OZ Sports. That's youtube.com/12OZ Sports. And you will be able to get whatever show you want on the 12OZ Sports lineup. We got a lineup for you today because there's a lot going on in the professional and the college ranks. First comes first, NBA Cup quarterfinals finished up last night, and we had two good contests, one in the West and one in the East. Speaking of the East, the Miami Heat are thinking about trading their best player, Jimmy Butler. He put some trade requests out there as to where he would like to play. Something we talked about yesterday, which is Bill Belichick, the new head football coach at University of North Carolina. Congratulations to Bill Belichick. We'll break that down. And then, of course, Thursday night football, which, wow, when the Thursday night football of the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers was put on the schedule, I think a lot of people were thinking to themselves, okay, NFC West battle, this could be for the determination of the division. Now, you look at it the exact opposite, which we will get into and make our daily picks on. So be with us the entire time here on the Rome Show as we look to have a really good time and hopefully fire you up like we have fired up Mr. Michael Carvelis, the number one Romo sapien. Let's get into the Bill Belichick story to start the day today, because I think there's a lot swirling around the idea of Bill Belichick coaching at the college ranks. The idea of, after Bill Belichick left the New England Patriots in 2023, the idea that Bill Belichick, or excuse me, in 2021, I think it was, the idea that Bill Belichick wouldn't be coaching in the National Football League anymore was a wild thing to think, okay? 2021 when he lost Tom Brady, 2023 when he left the Patriots. Sorry, it just happens that way sometimes. So not one person believed that when Bill Belichick was no longer the head coach of the New England Patriots, that he wasn't not going to get another NFL job. Well, last year's hiring cycle goes, and he doesn't have a job. He has interest from about one or two, but for the most part, there is no Bill Belichick in the National Football League, and it didn't even look like there was a real want to have Bill Belichick in the National Football League. And I think that's where we start this story, because I think everybody is almost more amazed in the fact that one of the 32 NFL teams doesn't want Bill Belichick as it is they are as amazed that Bill Belichick would want to coach in college. He signs a 5-year deal with the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. We talked about it a little bit yesterday on how when he went through the interview process, he gave the Tar Heels a 400-page manifesto Bible thing that essentially says everything he wants in order to become the head football coach at North Carolina. Now, I don't know if those demands were met or not, but I do know he is signed for a 5-year deal. Here's what Bill Belichick had to say after signing on with University of North Carolina. I grew up of college football with my dad and treasured those times. Belichick said as part of a release announcing the move. This was yesterday. I have always wanted to coach in college, and now I look forward to building the football program in Chapel Hill. If I was in a college program, Belichick said on the Pat McAfee show just some 4 days ago, the college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program, training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, and techniques that would transfer to the NFL. I've heard a lot of conversation about Bill Belichick and the recruiting process. I've heard a lot of conversation about is Bill Belichick going to go sit in a kid's living room and try and win him as a recruit? Is Bill Belichick going to be able to handle the NIL? Can Bill Belichick handle the landscape of the transfer portal? We're seeing a lot of older coaches get out of the college game because they are not wanting to be a head coach anymore, not wanting to stay up with the times, not wanting to make adjustments. How's Bill Belichick at 73 years old going to be able to do that and turn the UNC program around? Gus Malzahn, former Auburn and University of Central Florida head coach, had this to say after he left a $15 million paying head coaching position to take a $1.5 million paying offensive coordinator position. The job description of a head coach, Malzahn said, has changed dramatically in the last 2 years with everything. Transfer portal to collectives to agents and everything that goes with that. I am just an old school football coach. I love coaching football. And head coaches, it's hard to do that a lot. So that had something to do with it. And then the opportunity and being familiar with Mike Norvell, head coach at Florida State, and having so much respect for this university, coached against this university in the national championship, I know what this place is capable of doing. Now, you might ask me, well, Andrew, why are you bringing up Gus Malzahn's quotes when we're talking about Bill Belichick signing with University of North Carolina? Well, it is because that is a lifelong college football guy. That's a guy that has taken a program in the SEC in Auburn to a national championship. That is a guy that knows what it's like, that lives, sleeps, eats, breathes college football. And he left his post as a head coach to go be the offensive coordinator at a 1-11 program that has a head coach that looks like is hanging on by a thread. That's outside looking in. I have no clue. Why would you do that? You would do that because the landscape of head coaching in college athletics now, with all of these changing rules, is very, very difficult. And so it then poses the question, how does Bill Belichick handle all this? Well, I personally think college football as it is right now is set up for Bill Belichick to have the ultimate success. Because college sports has never looked so much like the National Football League. Think about it. The NIL is contracts. Okay? If you're a top 10 recruit in the 2026 class, let's say, all right, and you're talking between Alabama, Michigan, North Carolina, Virginia, and USC, and we all know you're the number 3 rated overall recruit and you're the number 1 defensive end, okay? All 5 of those schools want you equally. You are wanted by all 5 equally, and your scholarship package, so be it technically different at each institution, is $0. So you're going to each one of those schools on a full ride. The only difference is the NIL or the contract. So college football and the National Football League, or professional sports in general, have never played such a parallel with each other. So if I'm Bill Belichick and I'm going into the college game on the back end of my National Football League career, having never been in the college game outside as a son to a father coaching the game, the first thing I'm going to do is set up an NIL situation that has me offering contracts NIL-wise to these players. That's the first thing, okay? The second thing is the transfer portal is free agency. That is the same thing. I have an expiring contract with this organization rather than sign again with that organization, I'm going to test the waters and see what type of deal I get from all of these other people. Okay? That is the transfer portal. Not happy with this situation. So I'm going to put my name into the free agency pool, and I'm going to see what other teams are interested in me, and I'm going to decide, is where I'm at now the best decision, or can I get up and go? Okay? Those two things make college football so eerily similar to professional sports that the transition in those areas for me with Bill Belichick should not change much. As long as everything is set up appropriately, here's the only place I think he can get away from Bill. All right? You're watching all of these college greats leave the game because they're struggling with, and this is every sport, basketball, football, across the board, because they're struggling with the handling of NIL, of transfer portal, of all of that stuff. But I believe the reason it'll be different for Bill Belichick and those dudes that grew up in the game of college football is Bill Belichick has been in the National Football League from 1975 to 2023. Okay? So since 1975, Bill Belichick has only known professional football. So if the college coaches, i.e. Nick Saban, Mike Krzyzewski, that are the best college coaches in their respective sport are leaving because they can't handle the NIL or the transfer portal, or they don't want to, or they miss the way the amateur aspect of college sports used to be. There's no better person than somebody that spent their entire life in the business sport. It's a business. That's where the whole Tom Brady, Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick argument came from. It's a business. Well, if it's time to move on, we got to move on. Doesn't matter how many championships you have. Doesn't matter if you're the greatest quarterback of all time. It's a business. So no better person to deal in that realm than Bill Belichick. Because the bottom line is, when it comes to NIL and transfer portal, you're most likely not as worried about building relationships as you are about winning games. Right? That's a fact. You're trying to build the best roster at the professional level to win games and make money. Or in some cases, for most organizations, make money, make some more money, and then just have a team on the field participating. But that is professional sports. And make no bones about it. Don't lie to yourself here. That is also college athletics. It is a business. The NCAA, the institution, they are making money. That is why we can give NILs, because they've made so much money that it started to be like, whoa, you can't hide that in the closets of your office anymore. We see how much money you're making off of the backs of us, the student athlete. Start giving us some of that bread. So of all the people ready to go from the National Football League to college football, I would actually argue that Bill Belichick is the most ready. And here's my final thought on this before we move on. I don't believe that the head football coach of an institution going into your living room or speaking with your parents in this day and age is necessarily the difference between a kid saying yes or saying no. 10 years ago, maybe. 15 years ago, maybe. Now, there's no chance that the head football coaches at the top institutions, do you really think, and maybe he is, and maybe I stand corrected, and if I do, I need someone to reach out to me here. I don't believe Kirby Smart is going into the living room of 75 recruits every single year. He might go 5. He might have 5 or 10 that he's got to go see because, yeah, they're program changers. You know, maybe they're the next Derrick Henry. Maybe it's Travis Hunter. I understand that, right? But I don't believe that the line of having a good recruit or not having a good recruit in today's day and age of college sports is going to come down to a coach in someone's living room. Okay. The days of the movie The Blind Side, where you see all those college coaches in the living room meeting with the I think that's over, because now most players are just trying to get their bag. And I'm not saying D1 kids at the college football level aren't trying to build relationships. I'm not saying any of that either. I'm just saying it's changed. And we can't pretend like Bill Belichick's going to have to do all this insane recruiting, trying to win the people over to be a loving dude to have kids over at his house once a week. No, here's our NIL money. Here, I can get you to the National Football League. I'm freaking Bill Belichick. Okay, I'm freaking Bill Belichick. Here's what the AD at UNC had to say before we get out of here. Bill Belichick is a football legend, and hiring him to lead our program represents a new approach that will ensure Carolina football can evolve, compete, and win today and in the future, Cunningham said. At Carolina, we believe in providing championship opportunities and the best experience possible for our student athletes, and Coach Belichick shares that commitment. If you were wondering, Bill Belichick is literally one of the greatest 4 coaches in National Football League history. He has 8 Super Bowls, 6 as a head coach, 2 as a defensive coordinator, 9 Super Bowl appearances, 19 playoff appearances, 31 playoff wins, 17 division titles, and 333 total wins, including the playoffs, trailing Don Shula. I think it's by like 15. So Bill Belichick already goes down as a Mount Rushmore National Football League head coach. And maybe, just maybe, that is why he made this decision. Maybe he's lying to everybody. He didn't like his NFL interests. He just wants to coach, prove people he's good, then get back to the NFL and be the greatest coach of all time. Or maybe he's at peace with what he's seen in his career in the NFL. He's like, I'm good. Let me try something else before I retire. Or maybe, just maybe, he wants to do this. I don't know how it's going to turn out for North Carolina, but I love them taking the risk to jolt their program. A program that has not had an ACC title since 1980. 1980. So a lot to be done for Bill Belichick. Mike Day, my fear for the Bills is the younger guys won't want to be coached by this method. I think he'll initially get tons of recruits committing. Mike, I hear you, but I'm going to have to slightly disagree, okay? Because everyone that has played for Bill Belichick as a player, for the most part, doesn't have many negative things to say about him. It's not like players come back and they're like, he's this big a-hole, he's just berates you. No, more than anything else, it's the media and the fans that aren't a fan of Bill Belichick's like personality. But there's a lot of players that love playing for Bill Belichick. And I think it's also about the staff you hire. Look at Deion Sanders, okay? He brings in Warren Sapp and a bunch of other dudes that are legitimate guys that played in the National Football League. Now it's no longer just Deion Sanders up there. Don't get me wrong, Hall of Famer, primetime dude's elite. But it does change things when you have 5 or 6 dudes that have been here all around from different areas, different backgrounds, different positions, all that stuff. Then you do just one and it's your head coach. So I think if Bill Belichick hires the right staff, that'll be a key aspect of this thing in terms of how this program rolls, how he's pushing off some of those jobs for his assistants to make sure Bill Belichick can be the do your job guy. Let's get really good at football. And you know, one thing I've also heard, by the way, is in the National Football League, when you become a head coach, it's absolutely ridiculous how much you have to do outside of coaching football. I think there's a correlation there. I think, and I don't know if I'm right or not. I don't know if he's right or not. I don't even know if this is a right thought, but it's an opinion I have. I think Bill Belichick's thinking it's not going to be much different. I think he's like, oh man, the administrative BS that I used to have to do with the Patriots, it's going to be the same thing in college. And oh, by the way, wasn't a big knock on Bill Belichick that he wanted to be the general manager along with the head coach? Well, last time I checked, in college, you are the general manager and the head coach. So he gets to control it all. We will see how it turns out for Bill Belichick and UNC. We will see you on the backside of this commercial break. When we get back, we talk Jimmy Butler trade request, the National Basketball Association quarterfinals in the NBA Cup, and Thursday night football. You want to tune in on the action like Michael and Mike did, you can go to youtube.com/12OZ Sports or X 12OZ Sports, and you can comment live and we can throw you on the show. Andrew Romanella, The Rome Show, 12 Ounce Sports. After this commercial break, we're back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them. Yeah. Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right. At 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah! That's the Rome Show. Woo! 12ouncesports.com. X. YouTube. The Rome Show, 112OZ Sports. Follow us everywhere. If you're not following us, you've made a big mistake. It's December 12th, 2024. The show has been on the air on 12OZ Sports for almost 365 days. So if you're not following, that is on you. That is on you. But let's make that change because the guys at 12 Ounce Sports crush it. We got shows at 7, 10, 1, 3, 5, 9. We got gambling advice. We got sports talk. We got dudes that smoke cigars. We got guys that just talk anything. We got a lacrosse show. I bet you didn't know that. Yeah, we do. We got everything on 12 Ounce Sports. So head to 12ouncesports.com or just simply go to youtube.com/12OZ Sports. And you can get in on the action like Michael is right now. And he is pretty fired up about the music intro. You know, Mike, it felt really loud in my ears. But sometimes I can't tell if that's me with my mic on or not. Nonetheless, let's get back to sports. Cigars, nonetheless, Jimmy Butler would like to have after a championship, but he hasn't had one yet in his career. All right. And we've watched Jimmy Butler on the Miami Heat make two beautiful runs to the NBA Finals. Right now, the Miami Heat are not the team that the Heat have been in the past. And so Pat Riley and the Heat are going to listen on trade requests for Jimmy Butler. The Heat are currently 12-10 right now. Now, I bring you this. This comes in lore of them winning 3 straight and going from 9-10 to 12-10. So I don't know if it's like the Los Angeles Rams situation in the NFL where you're 4-6 going into, or 4-5 going into one game, or 3-5, and then all of a sudden now you're 7-6. And you're like, okay, well, it's a good thing we didn't do anything at the trade deadline because we've gone 4-1 since then. I don't know if that's the case with Miami. But either way, in speaking with Jimmy Butler, he has decided that there are 4 teams essentially that he is the most interested in going to because he wants a win now team. If the deal is right for Miami, Jimmy Butler has requested the Mavs, the Houston Rockets, which is wild to say out loud, the Golden State Warriors, and the Phoenix Suns. At 35 years old, Jimmy Butler is averaging 19 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, and 4.8 assists per game. Now, the kicker on this whole thing is his contract this season is worth $49 million. Yes, I said that correctly. Remember back to my conversation yesterday with everyone about Juan Soto and how basketball yearly contracts are super similar to baseball. The only difference is basketball doesn't give out 8, 10, 12, 15-year deals where baseball does. Jimmy Butler also has a player option, keyword there, player option for the 2025-2026 season that increases his yearly salary to $52 million for that year. Okay, so first, when everyone says, oh my God, how'd Juan Soto get that much? He's getting the same amount as the top players in all of the sports leagues. That just especially the NBA and the MLB, which are a little bit more lucrative. Next point, which is more important, do these teams want Jimmy Butler? The Mavs made it to the NBA Finals last year without Jimmy Butler. Is Jimmy Butler the difference on the Mavs team to get them over the hump with Luka Doncic and company? The Rockets, they're a younger team that is playing really good basketball. They're 17-8. Do you treat yourselves like the Oklahoma City Thunder 2 years ago when this started to happen, when you first got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and you started to make some draft picks, Chet and alike? Steven Adams actually helped that turnaround as well before they got sent him off. Or do you do what you've seen other teams do in the past and say, let's go do this, get two really big name guys thing, trade some of the younger dudes that we had building here because we think we need a star or two to win over 7, 10, 11 deep. So the Houston Rockets would have to make that decision, but I would not blow anything up as it currently stands. The Warriors, they just kind of went through a 2.5-year rebuild. I think they already rebuilt it. I don't know if Jimmy Butler's the ad. And then the Phoenix Suns, who have Kevin Durant, Booker, and it's like, well, what are we doing here? Are we trying to be the iteration of the Miami Heat from 2014, that is the Phoenix Suns with the big three? Or are we trying to be a little bit of a new age basketball team now where it's not about having 3 elite players and 7 more just not good players? It's about having like 7 to 10 like solidly really good NBA players and maybe one that's just like a little bit better than the entire group. So we'll see what happens with Jimmy Butler. In the scoring news, the Hawks defeated the Knicks last night 108-100. Joe Johnson had a great day, 21 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists. Trae Young, excuse me, he had 22 points and 11 assists. And I said it yesterday in Daily Bananas. We'll break it down again later as we give you the banana picks. But the Hawks love playing the Knicks, which is why we'll talk about it in a moment. The next round for the Hawks will be against the Milwaukee Bucks. That will be on Saturday. 4:30, the NBA Cup semifinals at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. On the flip side, the Warriors lost a close one to the Rockets, 91-90. Some late free throws for the Rockets helped seal the deal. Steph Curry had 19 points in this contest, and Al Green Sengun had 26 in 32 minutes for the Rockets, 10 of 18 from the field, including 11 rebounds. And that upstart Rockets team with a few veterans like Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet, they move on to the semifinals as well, and they will take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Golden State Thunder. I just almost said the Oklahoma City Thunder on Saturday. Their game will start at 8:30. NBA Cup updates right there. We have a Thursday night football game to discuss, but we are going to do it as our daily picks, much like we did yesterday. So we're going to start the sounder, start the music, take a few minutes, give you our thoughts on Thursday night football, and then we will wrap up shop here on December 12th. Rome Show 12-ounce Sports.
Ba 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 na na ba 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 na 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 ba 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 na na.
All right. So last night we went to the basketball ranks, and my fault. Thank you, Jalen Johnson. I don't know why every time I see Jay Johnson, I know it's not Joe Johnson, but I think back to my time growing up when Joe Johnson was a Hawk, and for some reason, every time I think this entire year, I'm probably 50-50 on calling Jalen Johnson, or Joe Johnson. And I feel like that Joe Johnson also wore number 1. So thank you, Carvelis, for getting me in there and fixing my mistakes. That is me on a daily basis. Just ask the players on my team. Let's get to the bananas, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we came, trying to add some bushels to yours. 164 and 132 is what I came into last night as my record. I picked the Hawks at plus 7.5. The Warriors on the money line and Steph over 3 threes. I got the Steph. I got the Hawks at the plus 7.5, considering they won by 8. And I got the Steph Curry on threes. He made 3 exactly. So we went 2-1 last night since the Warriors could not finish that contest. We're 167 and 133. Sorry, I had 165 wins before today, not 164. And let's talk Thursday night football. We have the Rams. We have the 49ers. We have Matthew Stafford. We have Brock Purdy. Stafford's thrown for 3,303 this year. Brock Purdy's thrown for 3,032. Stafford's got 19 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Purdy's got 15 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. The difference here, for me at least, is going to come down to the injuries. Way more injuries on the 49ers side than the Rams side. If you think about it, the Rams sustained their injuries early on in the season. You had to deal with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp out. Now, the 49ers, they've been sustaining injury. You have 2 running backs deep, maybe even the third one hurt on this roster right now. Deebo Samuel's been banged up. Jawan Jennings has been banged up. Your leading receiver is George Kittle with 56 receptions and 800 yards. Christian McCaffrey's out for the rest of the year. So much looks different. And then there's guys hurt on the defensive side for the 49ers. So that's the first thing for me. Is the next man up good enough on this roster for this 49ers team to beat a Rams team that's been playing really good and is really good offensively, especially when they have Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and Matt Stafford on the same page? But oh wait, don't forget the fact that Kyren Williams is already over 1,000 yards on the season with 12 touchdowns on the ground. He's accounted for 1,200 yards of all-purpose offense for the Los Angeles Rams. So think about that three-headed monster with Matt Stafford slinging the rock. I got the 49ers favored right here, according to Vegas, at -3 in this game. They're 6-7. The Rams are 7-6. I think this is one of those years you're going to chalk up for the 49ers where it's like, man, what happened there? Well, injuries just wasn't our year. Came off the Super Bowl. People might call it a hangover. Call whatever the hell you want. At the end of the day, I'm taking the Rams at the +3. I'm going to ride them 4-1 in their last 5 with healthy Nacua, healthy Kupp, healthy Stafford, and Kyren Williams running the rock. I'm also going to take George Kittle with a touchdown. In 7 of his 13 games this year, he scored a touchdown. He's got 8 total on the year. And then finally, I will take Kyren Williams over 85.5 rushing plus receiving yards. And those are my daily bananas. And that is the Rome Show. 12-ounce sports, man. What a good time we had. If you had a great time, you should tune in tomorrow and have another good time with us. We're here 7 a.m. every single day. Follow the show on social media. Head to youtube.com/12OZ Sports and subscribe. Do whatever you can to be a part of the family every day. Be electric today. Head to RomeShowShop.com for your Christmas needs. Andrew Romanella saying peace.
Thank you for listening.